Should federal employees take a VERA early retirement offer or wait? That's the question we're going to walk through today. So if you're a federal employee and you just got a VERA letter, or you hear people at work talking about early outs, it can kind of feel like a door is opening and closing at the same time. You might be in your early 50s or early 60s, you've been with the government for many years, and now your agency is talking about cuts, moving people, or a big change. Some of you may be thinking, if I take this offer, will we be okay? And if I don't take it, will I regret it later? So in this video, I'm going to explain VERA and FERS early retirement in simple terms. My goal is to help you slow down before making a choice, see what VERA really does and does not do, and give you a simple way to compare taking the offer versus staying. If you're new here, my name is Tom. I'm a fee-only fiduciary financial planner and the founder of GT Wealth, and all I do is help federal employees maximize their benefits so they can retire on their terms and with confidence. So let's start with what VERA is. VERA stands for Voluntary Early Retirement Authority, and it's a special rule. It lets an agency offer early retirement when it's going through a big change. That could be a reduction in force, a reorganization, or other cuts. Now, the big word here is voluntary. VERA is an offer. It's not the same as being forced out. You can say yes to it. You can also say no. Agencies use VERA to get more people to leave on their own when they need to reshape the workforce. Sometimes they offer this to people in jobs that will be cut, or sometimes they offer it to people in safe jobs so they can move someone else into that spot and avoid any layoffs. VERA is not the same as a buyout. A buyout is called a Voluntary Separation Incentive Payment, or VSIP, and that's a cash payment. An agency can have VERA without a buyout without VERA, or both at the same time. Just because you hear VERA does not mean there's a check that's going to come with it. VERA is also not the same as Discontinued Service Retirement. With Discontinued Service Retirement, you're separated from your job and it's not your choice. With VERA, you choose to leave, and that's a very big difference. Okay, now let's talk about who can use this and who can't. To be able to retire under VERA, you must meet one of two age and service rules. The first rule is you're at least age 50 and you have at least 20 years of creditable service. The second rule is you have at least 25 years of creditable service at any age. Now, these rules are in the law. OPM cannot change them or waive them. And on top of that, you must meet a couple of other things. You must be in a job that's not a time-limited or temporary job. You must not have a final removal decision for misconduct or poor performance. You must be in a job that's inside your agency's approved VERA group. And you must retire during the VERA window that your agency sets. This is why one coworker can get a VERA letter and another does not. Your agency can limit VERA to certain locations, units, grades, or job series, and can cap how many people can actually take it. So you can meet the age and service rules and still not be offered VERA if your job is outside of that group. Now, I want to clear up what VERA does not do. VERA does not change the basic FERS pension formula. Your pension is based on your high 3 average pay and your years of service. If you leave earlier, you have fewer years in that formula, so the check can be smaller. But VERA itself does not give you a special bonus formula. It also does not always come with a buyout check. VERA and VSIP are two separate tools. So just make sure you know if you're being offered early retirement, a cash payment, or both. And VERA does not stay open forever. Your agency sets a start and end date. They can also close it early if they hit a target number, as long as they follow what OPM has approved. So you may feel some time pressure when these are offered, but you still want to see the full picture before you make a decision and act on it. So let's talk about what VERA can mean for your life after you stop working. On the pension side, it lets you start your pension earlier than the normal rules. The check is still based on your high 3 consecutive years and your years of service. So if you were planning to work to 62 and VERA lets you leave at age 57, that can mean 5 fewer years in the formula. You also miss 5 years of pay raises that could raise your high 3, and over a long retirement, that can add up. So let me give you a simple number example. Let's say your high 3 pay at 62 would be about $120,000 and you would have 32 years of service. Under the 1.1% formula, that's $120,000 times 32 times 1.1%, about $42,240 per year before taxes. Now let's say you leave at 57 instead. Maybe your high 3 is about $110,000 and you have 27 years. That's $110,000 times 27 times 1%, about $29,700 per year. That's a difference of around $12,540 every year for the rest of your life. And for many couples, that's their travel budget or the difference between feeling tight month to month and feeling comfortable. And on the healthcare side, there is the 5-year FEHB rule. So in general, to keep FEHB into retirement, you must have been covered under FEHB for at least 5 years right before you retire or since your first chance to sign up. When an agency has VERA or buyout authority, there can be a special policy. In some cases, OPM can waive that 5-year rule for people who are part of that program. Those waivers follow set rules and are usually handled by your agency's benefits office. So this is not a place to guess. Your benefits office can help you see if you meet the normal rule or if there's a special rule for your group. In my experience, the health insurance piece and what happens to your spouse are just as important as the pension numbers. Most federal employees I work with do not want to risk losing the health plan their family counts on. Now let's go over a few simple questions you can ask with your spouse before you say yes or no. The first question is, if I take VERA, what will our monthly income be from my pension, my Social Security when it starts, and from safe withdrawals from our savings and TSP? And will that be enough to cover our bills and still let us live the life we want? Second question, if I do not take VERA, what do the next few years at work look like? Could I potentially move to a different role if my current one feels hard? Number 3, what is our plan for the TSP if I retire early? Will we start pulling from it right away, or will we have other income for a few years so the TSP can keep growing? Number 4, how does this choice affect my spouse? If I pass away first, what happens to the pension, the TSP, and the health insurance? And there's also a heart question here too, and here's what I mean by that. It's asking yourself, am I ready to be done with this chapter of federal service? Now, some of you, I'm sure, will hear that and say, yes, I'm totally ready to get out. And some of you might still like the work you do and the people you work with. And if that's you, ask yourself, am I saying yes to a VERA offer only because I feel scared and rushed? Now, I want to share a simple story that's based on real cases I often see. So here we have Mark. He's 56. He had worked as a federal employee for 27 years. His wife is Lisa. She was 54 and worked outside of the government. And most of their savings were in his traditional TSP and her 401k. And they also had a small Roth IRA. Mark's agency got VERA authority after a reorganization. Some jobs were moving and some were being cut. Mark got a letter that he was eligible for VERA. He was tired. He did not like where his job was going, and the idea of leaving now sounded very good. Here's what they did not know. They didn't know what his pension would be if he took VERA at 56. They didn't know for sure if they met the health insurance rules. They didn't have a plan for how much they could take from the TSP without running it down too fast. So we sat down and built what I call a federal retirement readiness roadmap. We ran the numbers 2 different ways. One path was Mark takes VERA at 56. The other path was Mark stays in a different role and retires closer to 60 or 62. We showed on one screen how their first pension, TSP, Social Security, and taxes would work in each case. We checked their FEHB history to make sure they can keep their health coverage. And we built a simple cash and bond bucket inside their plan so they would not have to sell stocks in a bad market just to pay the bills in those early years of retirement. Once they saw both paths laid out, they saw that if Mark just stayed just a few more years in a better fitting role, they could pay off their last debt, build up more cash, and have more room for travel in their early 60s. In their case, they chose to pass on that very first VERA window, and we set a clear target and a plan to get there. Now, that will not be the right choice for everyone, but they moved from guessing and feeling stuck to a clear side-by-side view of each path. Then they pick the path that fit their life and their values. So if you're in a spot like Mark and Lisa, you don't have to figure this out alone. There's always something we can do to make the picture more clear. And so the big idea I want you to remember is this. VERA by itself is not good or bad. It's a tool, right? For some of you, it can open the door to leave a hard job and move into a better season of your life. And for others, waiting can be the other better move. The goal is to see your own numbers and your own paths clearly before you make a decision. So if you're a federal employee within about 5 to 10 years of retirement and your agency is talking about VERA or other early out offers, and you want help seeing what this could look like, I'd be happy to help. Click the link in the description and request your free federal retirement blueprint. On that free call, we walk through your FERS pension, your TSP, Social Security, your FEHB, and your taxes so you can see what your retirement paycheck could potentially look like. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.